Hi everybody. So outside's really windy and the wind just keeps taking over. I'm trying to tell this story and I promised you a true story about breastfeeding, and here it is. Breastfeeding doesn't work for everybody. Even if you have fabulous boobs, they may not, come up to play the game. So we had our first son. That was a traumatic experience. We'll talk about that sometime in the future. But in the end, the whole staff was traumatized. I was traumatized. My husband was traumatized. The baby was traumatized. Everyone's traumatized to the point that they handed us this newborn. And they said, okay, try to breastfeed him. And they all vacated the room. Like, we were just left there with this baby. And my husband and I both looked at each other like this. And we're like, do you know what to do? And we were both like, I don't know what to do. Hopefully the baby knows what to do. So we stuck him on the boob. We go, guess what? The baby didn't know what to do either because he was so traumatized and tired from this horrible birthing experience. Well, for the rest of the day, we were brought this baby and told to breastfeed him, and they would leave us. They would just leave, and it wasn't going well at all. So at night, when I was left alone and they took the baby to the nursery, I heard like this, and it's time to nurse your baby. And I was sleeping, and I woke up and I thought, oh my God, she's gonna leave me with that baby. Do not leave me with that baby. Like, in my head, I was like thinking, do not leave me with that baby. I don't know what to do with that baby, and that baby doesn't know what to do with me, and nobody's helping, and it's going really bad. And so I'm sleeping. So I decided, I'm sleeping. I'm going to stay asleep. I'm going to fake sleep so she doesn't leave me with that baby. I was so terrified. I was just terrified. And so she comes in the room, and I feel her tap my feet, and she's like, Ann, wake up. It's time to nurse your baby. And I was like a rock star, man. I was a rock star sleeper. I was just tired mom. A new tired mom. And then I hear her leave, and the door closed. And I thought, oh my God, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for taking that baby. I don't know what to do with that baby. That baby doesn't know what to do with me, and this is the worst. Okay, so the next day, the pediatrician comes in and says, I really don't think you should go home. I'm really worried about him. He's not nursing. He's not drinking. Is that okay? And I said, yeah, that's great. And I will stay. But you have to promise me somebody's going to come and help us learn how to nurse because it's not going well. And he's like, I promise. So he leaves and sends in a nurse. She was wonderful. She was so wonderful. And she brings a pump, a breast pump, like bigger than me. I've never seen anything like it. Like, I could have jumped and it could have just sucked every liquid out of my body. But no, she attached them to these things. And you know what she got? 3 drops of liquid gold, which is the first part of the breast milk, right, that develops, but not immediately for some people. So even if you have fabulous boobs, they may not come to play, and they didn't. And here's the real goal. If somebody says anything about breastfeeding, they look like they're really traumatized, and as providers, we need to ask these women, not are you breastfeeding, but how is breastfeeding going? How is it really going? Because if anybody would have just had the courage to ask me that and say, you know what, sweetheart, it looks like it's not good. It's okay to stop. Because as a woman, it is so hard to make that decision because we're so programmed from society and from the pressures that you have to breastfeed. And if you don't breastfeed at sub level, you're a failure and your baby's going to die. We just throw it out there. For months, I tried this. And I have so many more stories that are worse than that. And it was so emotionally full of warfare and hostile environments that now as a provider, I ask all my women, how is breastfeeding going? And they'll answer honestly, and we'll have a talk. And it's like, it's hard. It's really, really, really hard because we don't give you other options. Nobody really gives you permission to stop. And with the first baby, it's hard to give yourself permission to stop. And that's what I want to bring out there. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the truth. Breastfeeding is primary. It should be. If it works, it's phenomenal. And then what are the options? So we'll go into that in the future too. But just know, you can have fabulous boobs and they just may not produce, support for that little thing you just pushed out of your bottom. But it was worth everything for it. Have a great weekend.